When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That just might work, ayy. When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That just might work, ayy. That just might work.
Welcome back to another episode of the Michel Matters Podcast. I'm Jocks Michel.
And I'm Jackie Michelle.
Welcome back.
Hey, guys.
Another episode in the books.
Yes.
Early record today, but, wide awake.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so real quick, I guess catch us back up on what's been going on the last couple of weeks.
Okay. This is something we did over Christmas break, but we forgot to I forgot to mention that I watched Cool Runnings.
Finally.
And it was trash.
Oh.
But
that's disrespectful.
No, it's not.
That's disrespectful.
The accents were disrespectful.
But but watching it now, but a lot of movies are trash now. But for when we were, because that movie came out when we were really young, like it was fire.
I still don't even understand how you saw that movie.
What do you mean?
Because you didn't have cable.
All right, you're gonna stop disrespecting.
And you was young.
You're gonna stop disrespecting because I had cable for various points in my life. Like I had illegal cable for a little bit.
Allegedly.
Not allegedly. And then, you can't do nothing to me now.
Right.
And then, every once in a while, my dad would get cable. Something that happened, you lose it. But I had a cable long enough to watch Cool Runnings. The movie was popular. It's a Disney movie.
Well, and I also don't understand how it was a Disney movie because they were, cursing and stuff.
Yeah, I that part I forgot. They dropped some words and I was like, oh.
Unless that was... Even still, it was the non-edited version.
Yeah.
But Disney should be an edited version.
Hey,
man.
it's
Disney.
You gotta enjoy it for what it was.
I finally saw it. It was not that serious. I don't know why you guys made such a big deal about it.
Because it's just a movie you had to have seen.
No.
A black Disney movie.
Yeah,
from back then.
Up and away.
I'm talking about from back then, though. It was good. Whatever. I'm not gonna let you poo-poo on Cool Runnings like that.
Yeah. And then this past weekend, we celebrated 6 years.
Oh, yeah. I didn't write that down. But I guess that's kind of important.
Trash.
I'm not trash. I gave you a heartfelt post on the ground.
Yeah, so 6 years. Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot to put that on the update.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has. And it's always every year that we post the January anniversary. I always get the what? When and how?
I don't post. So.
Because
I see you in the morning.
No. So for me, right? Anniversaries. I don't care about if other people remember our anniversary or anything because that's a me and you holiday. Right. I ain't tripping on that. And I don't give the gram much. So every once in a while, I give him you. Some light. Keep the algorithm working.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was low key. We are usually pretty low key. Typically we just go somewhere. We don't go crazy on anniversary and stuff like that.
Yeah. But we took a trip, but we'll probably do something in the spring.
Yeah. So, and 6 is a weird number. It's not, one of them numbers. But it is closer to 7, which is the big one. The 7
Is that the big one?
That's the big one. That's the one they always do
yeah, we were
if you
talking
make it
about
to 7
that in a previous episode. I'll link it somewhere. When we were talking about the 7-year itch and just I think it was year 5 to 8. That was
the rough
patch or something like that.
So we make it to 7, we good.
Yeah.
So, just trying to.
We know someone who was married. Dang, how long were they married for?
Who?
Her husband just passed away.
Oh.
They were married for
a
long time. 50 or so years.
Yeah, they 50 plus.
Yeah. That's insane to me. But beautiful. But I'm just whoa, how did you guys do that?
They live long enough, I guess.
Yeah. And then we see all the time. It's easy to get a divorce out here.
Talk about it.
So you got to celebrate every moment. And then we chaperoned a high school dance.
That was humbling.
Was it?
Yeah. Because it reinforced how old I am.
Old enough to chaperone a dance.
Not just that,
but cool enough
songs.
not to snitch.
It was the music and
yeah, that mumble rap.
So one of the songs that they played was "Lovers and Friends," but it was kind of like, real quick.
Yeah, it was like while they were eating, and I was like, "Do they even know this song?"
No, and I pulled over one of the kids like, "Hey, you know what song this or who sings this?" And it was right after Usher said Usher in the beginning of the song. And he's like, "Nah, I think I've heard it before."
Nah, and then he was like, "Jeremiah?"
No, and I told him like, "Oh yeah, it's Jeremiah." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And he just like walked away, and I was like,
"Listen to the voice. Can't you tell who it is?"
But he don't even know what Jeremiah's voice sound like, apparently, if he thought it was Jeremiah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
It's a different
Yeah,
era.
we old blood. Like, it's sad. And then, even then,
no, it's not sad, because yesterday I was listening to Case, because I haven't heard Case in so long, and I was like, this is good. Like, I'm sorry. It just doesn't compare.
They could never.
So, but I'm not sad about it. Y'all can have this.
I was in the car with one of my players, and Juvenile, Bad That Thing Up came on. And I was like, oh man, this reminds me of my homecoming. And he looked at me and he was like, I've never heard this song.
Yeah, but even that playing at our homecoming is old. You know what I'm saying? Because that played at, like, probably my brother's homecoming.
Yeah. But, it stood the test of time, though.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
It played at this homecoming, didn't it?
But but they don't even know the words.
Yeah,
they just know the beat.
Yeah. Because didn't somebody sample it recently?
A bunch of people have sampled it.
Maybe I'm thinking about Drake.
Yeah, Drake. Yeah. A bunch of people have sampled it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. It was interesting, though.
Yeah. Whole experience. That's all I'm going to say. I walked away feeling old. I really did.
I walked in it feeling old.
True.
So.
Something different.
What else did we do?
And we recently finished Couples Devotion.
Mm-hmm.
And this was actually the fastest I feel like we finished a devotion. Granted, it wasn't fast.
No, it's because consistency.
Yeah, we were actually consistent with this one. And
that's why we got to find a new one so that we don't lag.
Yeah, I got you.
That's no shade.
It was shade, because that was a off mic conversation, but it is what it is.
Because I sent you one, and I guess you weren't into it.
No.
But I haven't heard any other feedback for another devotion.
This is going to be great for our topic today.
Not even
Nah. But I'm saying, like, give me some time. You sent it to me while I was at work.
I feel you.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So it was
But
really good.
It was really good. It's called A Couple's Guide to a Growing Marriage by Gary Chapman.
That's the guy who does the love languages.
Yeah. So, it's like short Bible story or Bible study type read, and then it has like blanks to fill in and like verses to read and different like exercises to do. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. We'll probably link it in the description somewhere so you guys can check it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, what, you got anything else?
We did have comments on socials, but I didn't write it down. There was one on our vlog. It was from my cousin, and she was saying like she's so happy that we put out a vlog and wanted to see what we were doing during the break. So if you guys haven't seen it, you can check out our vlog. And what else? Yeah, we might put out other vlogs later on. I have like maybe 2 in mind, but it's not a consistent thing. This is not something that we're doing.
Don't get used to that.
Like, we're not vloggers. So yeah, but it was interesting. It was an interesting experience. Subscribe and rate us on iTunes. Send us comments on SoundCloud or at Michel Matters on the gram. And if you want to support the podcast, you can check out our sponsors linked below.
All right. On to the current matter.
Yeah. All right. So this episode's current matter is something that has been on the news probably for like all of 2020 so far.
Yeah.
And it is Harry and Meghan, or I guess I should say Prince Harry, and I don't know what her title is. Meghan.
Princess or Duchess, whatever.
Duchess, right?
Duchess, yeah.
Who's?
I said Dutch.
All right.
Duchess of Sussex.
Them removing themselves as royals. And a lot of people have had a lot to say about it, which, I mean, a lot of Americans really don't care. But I just thought it was interesting because they obviously are married, and this is a podcast mainly about relationships and things like such as. So I thought that them leaving was actually a good decision. Because I am now watching The Crown on Netflix, right? It's a really good show. Jox's cousin put me on because she's like into film and that's what she's studying and stuff. So I was like, all right, fine. I usually don't like shows that have accents because it just throws me off. But this is actually pretty good because it's like based on their real life. Mm-hmm. And that family has a lot of tea that I had no idea. Like, wow, that's why people are probably interested in the royals. But obviously we know what happened with Princess Diana because we were around when that happened. And I always felt like Harry never really cared to be a royal. Mm-hmm. Not cared to be a royal because obviously you were born into that life. But he never seemed to do things by the book. So I wanted to know if there was ever a time where you felt like, not that you were like dishonoring your family, but that you weren't doing things by the book for the sake of either our marriage. Because when I look at them, I'm like, well, that's biblical. They leaving and cleaving to each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, leaving and cleaving doesn't mean disown, right?
Yes, but in order to do what they want to do, they can't be in his grandma's house for what they're trying to do. They don't want to live under taxpayers' dollars. They want to do like different philanthropic work or whatever it is that they're going to do. And obviously, like, the media is always coming for her, so she probably doesn't feel that safe. Mm-hmm. So in order to protect his family and move to Canada or wherever they're saying they're moving, he has to, I guess, forfeit his title. I don't know why, but there's a lot of weird rules in that palace. So yeah. So for me, I don't, I'm not even going to pretend like I know exactly what's going on. I know that they're moving. I don't even know if he's forfeiting the title. I thought it was just, they're taking like a leave type deal. Yeah. So I feel like it's, because you can't really forfeit what you are.
It's like it's a formality type. Like I didn't make much of it. I didn't think what they did was that hard. Be honest with you.
No, I agree. But after watching The Crown, there's a lot of stupid rules to us that it's like, for them, it's like, oh my goodness. How dare you dishonor the crown? Like,
yeah. The only thing, like, I'll give him credit. It seems like whatever he's doing it to support his wife.
Yeah.
And, I could back that up. So, as far as like that, yeah, I give him credit. He looks like he's in tune with his wife. They kind of, were fed up with maybe whatever is going on over there. He's like, nah, I'm out. Me and my wife, we moving on to other things. And I can respect that. Okay. I mean, a lot of people are giving them, I don't know the depth of exactly what they're leaving behind or maybe forfeiting. But supporting his wife, I could support that. So
yeah,
I'm here for that.
Okay. But have you ever had to deal with that? Because, like, his grandma called, like, a family meeting and all that stuff. Mm-hmm.
We be having family meetings, but not about, like, me and you.
So yeah, it doesn't really involve me.
Yeah, so I'm like, I haven't had to do anything crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like, my family's small. There ain't really that much drama to it.
Yeah.
So, the only leaving in Cleveland is, like, I moved. I don't know. No, I'm serious. Like, yeah. There's not much to leave. Yeah. My people don't got nothing. So, It's just, I mean, I would say, even when we proposed, it was kind of a, why not wait?
When we proposed.
Or when I proposed. Like, it was like, why not wait to get married? Because we got married pretty quickly after we got engaged.
Yeah.
So maybe there was that. And I was like, nah, we doing this.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that was it. We didn't really, there wasn't that much drama to the whole situation.
Right.
I had been with you for so long. It was just the next step.
Yeah. What do you say to like, because I do know people who struggle with that part.
With what? Cleaving? Or cleaving?
Well, yeah, I guess cleaving. I guess they go together, really. Because you are tied to your family, but when you're married, you know, your wife or your spouse in general comes first. So it's like, how do you really separate or draw the line between those two?
I think in matters of like family is always important, right? So there are moments that, especially when you're blending two families together, kind of understanding that there are some things about your family that I won't understand, and there's some things about my family you won't understand, but it's understanding that everybody cares about their family, right? So if there's something that needs to be done for my family, it'll get done. But in matters where it's, all right, your interest versus my family's interest, yours do come first because you're my wife. And that's, you know, that's what the leaving and cleaving part is understand I have a new family, but I cannot forget my old family.
Right. So
if there's something that has to be done and it's like, oh, but I got to do something with my wife versus, you know, my family needs something, I think it's my wife is going to come first in that situation.
Yeah.
If it's something of, all right, this is a matter of preference, like my wife prefers something, my family prefers something. Things of preference can be like, because you have your own interests. I think it's me having to make the right decisions. Like, look, I know you may feel a certain way, but I understand that that's just, I don't know how to explain, like, for things that are not important, it's not a life or death situation. I think I have the right to just, you know, what's more important in the situation? Yeah. Is it my wife's interest here or is it my family interest here? Because my wife has her own interests and my family has their own interests. It's balancing that.
But how do you know what's important and not important, though?
I mean, you know, when you deal with somebody long enough, when they're really standing on the table for something, and sometimes they just, you know, trying to show out. Like, she'll get over this one. Like, sometimes it be like that. I when you deal with people long enough, you know the difference. Yeah.
No, because, you know, that kind of, I think we brought this up before when it's like, you see those photos on social media and it's like, who comes first? Your mom, your wife, your
children,
whatever it was, your baby mama, and all that stuff. And then it's just like, this is a simple answer.
It is.
Like,
it is.
But I can understand why it's complicated. To at the end of the day, it's the same decision every time, but I get why it's complicated to make that choice. So because some people will feel left behind or like, you know, like you don't care, kind of.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people get caught up in the idea of like your mom is your mom. Like, you cannot replace your mom.
You can't.
But you can replace your wife. But what did my mom tell you the other day?
But what?
No, go ahead, tell them. What did my mom tell you the other day?
What did she tell you?
Oh, she was me. But you know,
in the room.
But you keep repeating it.
I do, because she spoke a word.
What did she say?
She said, I can't believe you brought that up.
Why not?
She said, I don't even know how this came into her.
It doesn't matter. It's her. It's her.
Yeah. She was like, you could always find a new wife, but that wife is not going to do what that previous wife did for you. Right. And I was like, and that spoke to my spirit. I was like, I don't know who needs to hear it, but.
So it is, it's not replacing. You cannot replace your wife. You can get a new one, but you cannot replace. But
she will never be the old one.
Yeah.
Never.
So in that case, I mean, the idea that you can replace your wife, but you can't replace your mom, that's not true. You can't replace either one. Yeah. But your wife is now that's your especially if you follow the biblical principles, your wife, you have a union,
I thought you were like doing a thorn at your side. Like, what is this?
Nah, she's not a thorn on my side. But I'm trying to think of the word. It's from God. Where it's almost like a contract, but with God, I forgot the exact word.
You talking about the 3 chord?
No, man.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I'm saying this is something that's put together by God. You don't choose the family that you have, but you do choose your wife, and that union is God ordained. It's the only not remember this word is killing me right now. But it's the only union on earth now that is still ruled by God. Like, this is between us and God. So yeah, my wife comes first. That's a simple decision. Yeah. But at the same time, you do have to balance your family. And I don't believe in disowning family or everything my wife says comes first, because
it's just boundaries.
My wife could be selfish.
Yeah.
And it's,
and your family could be selfish.
For sure. But then that's on you to you got to understand order of importance and how to line that up.
Yeah. And decipher, like, what's really going on here.
Have you ever felt like Meghan Markle? Like, yo, we got to go. I can't deal with your family.
I can't deal with your friend. I mean, there are times where it's like, we're either at my house or my old, the house I grew up in, or the house you grew up in. And it's like, all right, it's time to go. Like, this is the time. Yeah. So in those moments, we're like, okay, we're going home now. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do. But there's never like we have to leave and move to Australia because I just can't even deal. Like, that obviously has never happened. But there are timeout moments where it's just like, yeah, we need a break. We'll see y'all in a week or whatever. So why are you looking like that?
Nah, because I'm just trying to see, like, do you think
what?
Sorry. Do you think that I could make a move like Harry? Do you think that I had that in me?
I've seen you do something like that before.
You have?
Not to that degree, obviously. But you've put your foot down before.
Yeah.
Even in like high school.
I'll be putting my foot down.
Even in high school you did. Or like people would come to your defense too. Like, it's like you start slacking in school. Then all of a sudden it's my fault. Because you have a little girlfriend that's, taking up your time. And meanwhile, I'm on honor roll. So what's going on? Like, make it make sense.
All right. Next topic.
But yeah, at the end of the day, come with that Harry energy in 2020. Okay? Leave and cleave. And prioritize your life.
Yeah, I think that's just the key for men. Is understanding your priorities. And having that balance of your wife's interests, your family's interests, and your own interests, and kind of getting that in order.
Yeah.
All right?
All right. Let's move on.
All right, cool. All right. So for today's Michel Matter, we wanted to talk about how to handle disagreements.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that everybody goes through. It was actually one of the Bible studies in the Gary Chapman book. Super helpful. So yeah, handling disagreements. One of the things that like I hear often, or people just like assume that we don't have disagreements like that. Or we talked about it before, that people minimize our disagreements, or feel like we don't really have problems.
You talking about us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like, no, that's not true. You guys don't know our life.
No, at all.
Like, we just finished having a disagreement.
Yeah, it was one, no, not today. It was one that, it was kind of like those disagreements that you have for like a year. It's just that one thing that like you just cannot work through. Mm-hmm. So that is something that 2019, that was like just that one lingering disagreement that we finally finally got on the same page about last week.
So, so we kind of want to talk about it and see just how we kind of have gone and evolved in the way we handle conflict resolution and all that. So what do disagreements look like in our house to you?
I mean, if people say that we don't fight, they're not wrong, because we don't argue much. It's just when we both have strong personalities and strong viewpoints about what we think should happen and what we think, like how we should move forward with certain things. So I think that is why, like, what we were going through prolonged itself, because we were both like, nah, I'm not moving and you're not moving. So
yeah,
we just not moving. But if I'm going in this direction, in one direction, you're going in the opposite direction, there's no movement. So it kind of, I feel like that's what it looks like. Especially, I mean, if it's something serious. If it's something like, oh, you didn't call this bill, then who cares? Like, I mean, I care because I want it to be taken care of, but we can always figure that out. But I don't know how to, like, explain this matter.
So, I mean, we don't have to explain it matters. So, like, for me, I feel like when we have disagreements in the house, it usually goes like, one of us has an issue. If
one of us?
Yeah, like, typically, because a lot of our disagreements are one-sided. We rarely have moments. Huh?
How is a disagreement one-sided?
All right, so it'll be like,
it's two sides.
I offend you, and I don't know at the moment that it happens. Then you come to me with it, and it's like, you offended me. And I'm like, what? I didn't do nothing. And it's like that back and forth.
Yeah.
And then it could go, different ways. We can solve it there, or we can do like we did with our previous argument. And to me, which was probably our worst argument, because one that lasted the longest.
Jesus.
And then they reached the head like towards the end of the year, and there was like, let's say like 2 days where we spoke, but we ain't talked to each other.
Yeah.
Like, it's those get to the bed, I turn my back, you turn your back, and we go to sleep type nights.
Yeah. It's also like if there's if it's not just between me and you, like it's not a simple fix type thing, then those arguments just last longer. So that's why it lasted for so long. But yeah, and I think within that period, we were trying different things to figure out how to solve it. So it wasn't like we weren't trying to.
Yeah, we didn't just straight up ignore it.
Yeah, but nothing was working. Like, literally nothing was working. Like, let's try this. Okay, we'll try this for 6 months. We'll try this for 3 months. And it was just like, so we still don't agree? Like, we still haven't? Okay. So that's when it's like, all right, which happened last week. Let's sit down. Or not sit down, because we weren't really.
No, I was sitting down.
Yeah, but we were still, like, doing things. But within the day, we were having a long conversation. Like, let's figure out what's really going on. And this is my non-negotiable, and this is your non-negotiable. And then from there, we have to meet in the middle. And it's like, solidify what that middle is. Don't like, okay, you talking to this person, you getting advice, now you changing your mind. Or like, I'm talking to this person and getting advice, now I'm changing my mind. Like, no, this is where we agree, period. So that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, kind of.
Like yeah.
I think we were finally honest.
Yes.
I think before we kind of tiptoed around each other, and that point we kind of just really got honest. Like, look, I'm saying what I mean, and I'm meaning what I say right now. I'm gonna need you to do the same thing. And we could go from there, because I feel like we were both kind of making decisions, but not fully committing to our decisions. But that's because we weren't being honest. So I think we finally got honest, and the truth comes out when you be honest. Well, that makes sense, but you know what I mean. But you really get to the root of the problem. The root. When you actually are honest with each other. But how would you say my conflict resolution style is? Because I may think it's one way, but what does it look like to you?
Your conflict resolution style takes a long time. For me.
Yeah, okay, because
to you. Okay. To me, it takes a long time because I'm the type of person that
I'm supposed to tell you about yourself. You tell me about me. I'm gonna get to you.
You're the type of person that I need a week to think about it, to think about what we discussed. I need a week to derive a plan. I need another week to figure out how I'm gonna tell you that plan.
All right, first of all, you bugging. I do not take a week.
Okay.
We about to have a disagreement right now.
Okay, I need a week to think about it. I need 2 days to derive a plan and 3 days to tell you to think about how I'm going to tell you that plan and then tell it to you. So 2 weeks total, you just need silence and prayer and advice and counsel. And I'm just well, go ahead. You tell me how.
Okay, so my wife's conflict resolution style. She needs an answer right now.
Today.
Why wait? We could fix this like this. And she thinks everything could be solved at the snap of a finger. Because my wife is very... My wife. You are very... I don't want to say logical is not the word. It's very... I don't know. Maybe it's direct, but it's look... This is the problem. This is the solution. This is how you do it. Or this is how you resolve it, right? But life isn't that linear or that simple all the time. For me, to defend myself, and then you can defend yourself.
I don't have nothing to defend, boss.
So, for me, I'm a more, methodical person. As far as, I like to see the problem at hand. I don't rush to speak. That's one of my things. My words mean things, so I'm going to make sure I give you the best thought possible the first time, so that I don't have to explain myself later. So I make sure. He
needs to phone a friend, consult with the audience.
Okay, I do not. First of all, I don't always phone a friend. I do not, use the 50-50. But yeah, I don't think I'm the smartest person ever. I don't always think I know all the answers. So I do like to, depending on the situation, I like to gauge other people's all right, what do you think about this situation? Because I'm not one of those people that run to people to tell them my business like that. So in situations that are bigger than that, because I don't go to people, if I just have a simple disagreement between me and you, I don't run to people for that.
Yeah.
That, between me and God, we can handle that. But with things that are outside of us, and depending on what it is, I go to people who I know are maybe going through the same situation, or maybe even have a different view than me, or the same view as me. And I try to, bounce all right, what do you think about this? Have you thought about this? And, we go back and forth, and I take all information, and from the information that I gather, I make decisions. That's just how I work.
Yes, but you know how you go to trial, right? Well, I've never been to trial, but I watch TV. So when you watch TV and somebody's about to go to trial, they'll ask you a set of questions on one day, and then 2 weeks later they ask you the same questions again. I don't know if it's to see if they give you the same answers or see if you change your story, But Jocks does that. So you'll ask, and then I'll get irritated because I'm I've answered this before. So now I feel like you're not listening to me because I have to repeat myself. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
But that's just your method. Is like bi-weekly, it's like, okay, let me do a check-in so I can make sure that like I'm on the same page, or not on the same page, I'm on the right track of my reasoning before I even come to you with what I think could be a solution.
But do you disagree that maybe you may say you feel a certain way, but your actions show something different, so it's reasonable to check in?
I think sometimes what was that?
What you talking about?
I think sometimes you just have to, when you're in it, how can I change my actions if I'm still in the same situation? You know what I'm saying? I would have changed my action had we went with my decision and just figured it out right.
But you see the selfishness in that.
The selfishness?
Selfishness. Because see, I do not want to only focus on this one situation that we had.
Yeah.
So but I'm saying,
but how do I change if I'm still in the same situation?
Well,
so obviously my actions are
so to kind of clear it up and still not get specifics. So we had a situation. We came to an agreement, and that agreement was not followed through on. So then when I check in on the agreement, and the now situation has changed, because contrary to what, Jackie may have said, when I checked in the second time, the answer was different.
Okay.
Sorry. The answer was not the same. So it is not me.
The answer was not the same from me?
No, it wasn't.
The answer was not the same from you.
That's not true.
Wow.
Jackie has terrible memory. Terrible memory of situations.
That's true, but that doesn't come into play right now.
Yes, it does.
Because I remember.
Because that's not what happened. We had a situation. We came to an agreement. Okay, we're going to do this. Mm-hmm. When I came back, it was like, I thought we were going to do this.
You know what?
And then it was,
changed, though?
Nah, but you know what? That's not what I wanted to do the first time. Yada, yada, yada. And you knew that. And my thing was, don't agree to the agreement if you do not agree.
You Fair? Good? You good?
I'm in the spirit.
I see that. My thing is, things had changed from that first agreement.
I don't agree.
Things didn't change?
I don't agree.
From the situation, things had changed. I would say drastically, because things had come to my attention that I now had to specify to you. And then that kind of changed the whole agreement. So, you don't think so? You still don't think so?
No, but that's neither here nor there. We can.
Oh my god.
Fine. Okay, so this could be a good point. Is okay. Say it did, right?
Because we're talking about a year's time, so of course things change.
But the funny thing is, from the moment we had the agreement to when I noticed a change in the agreement was not a year. It was short. It was like 2-3 weeks, maybe a month. All right. So I'm not gonna pretend like, there has been so many different evolutions. But okay. So for our conflict resolution, right? If we come to an agreement on something, so two people have a disagreement, you know what? I guess the better way to do this is, okay, in handling disagreements, there are 3 decisions you can make. This is something we learned in the couples devotional. Mm-hmm. There's 3 decisions you can make. The first decision is meet the other person on their side. So disagreement, I'm on this side of the disagreement, you're on this side. One of us can meet the other. So like, okay, you know what? I agree with you. We'll go with this. Or it could be the other way. No, I agree with you. We'll go with that. So that's the first option in conflict resolution. The second option is to meet in the middle. Mm-hmm. Which is more than often than not the way people go is you try to find some type of compromise. Yeah. And you go from there. Which
we've done
a lot.
Yeah.
So the third way to do it, and this is not really an option, but it's an option, is to delay for a set period of time. Now, that is something that I feel like is very important, that the second part of that is for a set period of time. So if you delay something, a lot of times we table stuff like, you know what, we'll get to that. I mean, I don't feel like dealing with that right now.
Yeah.
But right now, yes, may not be the best time. But when is a good time? Because for most disagreements, it's never a good time to have an argument.
Right.
So it's setting up, okay, look, sleep on it. You got to pray, go pray. You need to fast, go fast. But what are we doing? Is it a 3-day fast? Is it a week fast? You need, 5 days of prayer. But what is it? And let's get back to it in a set period of time. And then at that set period of time, it shouldn't be another delay. It should be a meet in the middle or meet the other person on their side. Something has to give at some point. You cannot keep things in limbo. In our situation, we had a disagreement and we decided to meet in the middle. The problem in that was after a certain period of time, the middle didn't feel like a middle anymore. I think the middle moved over to somebody's side, right? So in this case, you would say the middle came over to my side. At that point, a conversation should have been had. And a conversation wasn't had. And that's how we ended up in another disagreement.
Yeah. Look at God.
The way we were able to resolve it is we had a new conversation and we created a real middle.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
speak on it.
We created a real middle. And I think that is something that can only be had with true, honest conversation. A lot of times people meet on the middle, but the middle is actually on somebody's side. The person who's meeting in the fake middle is never going to be happy.
Nah.
And I think to have real conflict resolution, you need to find a real middle. The thing about a real middle is both people have to legitimately give something up.
Yeah. Like you're both going to be uncomfortable.
Yes. And I do believe in check-ins still with new middles, or not new middles, but all middles.
Yeah.
Because the line can change.
Yeah.
And it
but
changed.
Then also, but then I was gonna say, the middle, like we have to notice when the line is shifting. And I called you out on that.
Yeah.
And that was when you have to now set up boundaries. So if this happens, ain't no shifting. Like this is the true middle, and this is like the true like decision maker kind of. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, I can go for this. I most definitely can't go for this. And we both have to share what that is. And then from there, it's like, okay, we can't change that. Because now we're being wishy-washy and can't have that. So yeah. I think we've established now a true middle for that argument. Mm-hmm. Or disagreement, whatever y'all want to call it. And every little thing that I hear that I'm like, you're changing that. Or you have one conversation and now it's changing. No, we're going back to that. So it's kind of like
it's checks and balances.
Yeah, it's almost like keeping each other accountable, mm-hmm. like
to what the middle is.
Yeah. Because it's a lot of things that could be involved in a disagreement. You could have like certain ties to whatever that is, or you could be emotional about it, or you could not like it. Like on one end, it's like, oh, you really love it or whatever. And then on another end, it's like, nah, I despise this. Like, I just don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. So, like, emotions can't really come into play when it comes to disagreement.
So, in certain cases, right? And I know this is not the topic you necessarily want to run down, but how do you feel about submission in terms of the, like, conflict resolution? So there are going to be times where I feel one way, you feel another way. Meeting the other person on the other side is going to require a form of submission. And at what times do you feel like, okay, I'm going to submit to my husband. But what are like the moments are like, no, I won't.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a tricky part in handling that disagreement because
what? Don't touch me.
Don't touch you. Because at the end of the day, like, I'm still submitting to God. So I've obviously felt like this during this disagreement, but I've heard other women feel like this, like, a lot, where it's like, oh, I just don't feel like you hearing from the Lord right now. So, and I've told you that. I've told you that because you were like, okay, you know, in one of our various amounts of check-ins, you were like, so, I forgot how you worded it, but you said something, and you were like, so you don't think I'm like making the right decision or something like that. And I was just like, I'm just waiting for God to speak to you. Because I feel like he's been telling me what to do. And maybe there's just a delay in your area. Like, you know, you don't really have service in your area. You're not hearing. But yeah, that was like a battle within myself too. Like, okay, am I supposed to just submit? But, you know, you don't just submit to nonsense. So you have to... No shade, but it's just like, let's be reasonable here. Like, this is not...
How do you not take shade? How is that... How is shade not taken when someone considers your well thought out thoughts to be nonsense? Nah, make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Okay, it wasn't like that. Like, it was just that this is not some tiny little decision.
Mm-hmm.
This is like serious, like, where God is involved. Mm-hmm. So I'm not taking it lightly. And I felt like you were being very emotional about it, or emotionally led about it. So for me, it was like, okay, he may not want to hear what I believe we should do because he's more emotionally invested than I am. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was the problem. Like, at the end of the day, I thought that was the problem. What?
No, the issue with this is...
But there are times where you just don't submit all things to your husband. Mm-hmm. Your husband can be wrong. And that was one of them things that I'm like, I just don't feel like you're right about this.
So this is the issue, right? There are fine lines with everything, but with when and when not to submit. Mm-hmm. Because I agree, there are... Because
I feel like that's a cop-out that a lot of men use.
What?
Like, oh, but you're supposed to submit. So it's like, what is this? Like, is this a relationship?
Okay.
Or...
that
because we both supposed to submit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I'm just saying, like, for the women listening, like, that could be a cop-out depending on their husband, because your husband could be crazy. And you don't just submit to everything.
You don't, right? You don't submit to everything if it's crazy.
Yeah.
But who determines sometimes what crazy is or what nonsense is?
Well, I think we had a breaking point where in one of our last conversations last week, when it was like, but isn't this the foundation of it? Don't that sound crazy to you?
Okay.
Like, at the end of the day, we met in the middle on that, because it was like, no, if this is the foundation, then we cannot change that. Like, that's on period, as what the kids say today. Like, this is the real middle ground for us. I don't know about for everybody else, but for us.
So this is where lines move, right? To still not take you guys behind the curtain, right? But that opinion was your opinion, was that opinion before that factor was even a factor.
Yeah.
So, in the beginning, when that factor wasn't even the factor, and I had my opinion, was my opinion more valid or less valid?
You
or
your opinion.
Because I'm trying to say it without talking too much, right? Okay. So it's like, I felt a way. We both felt the same way that we did like a week ago back then. Before the foundation was compromised. Why? What reason did you have to not submit to me at that point?
Oh, there are other things too, but those things, as we can see, can be worked on.
But okay,
if we're in the right headspace.
So if that's the case, should you have submitted at that point?
There were some things that I did submit to. Don't act like
okay.
Don't do that.
Because here's the issue, right? And we talk about this a lot because I don't want to get too far into the submission. I feel like that's a topic, in and of itself.
Yeah.
But my thing is with submission is if I am who I am supposed to be, submission shouldn't be so difficult. But in that same vein, if you are who you're supposed to be, submission shouldn't be so difficult. As far as,
like, from both sides.
Yes, because submission does take a level of it's a commitment to the other person. And I think you will always have your opinions. And I don't think that's ever going to change. And that's part of my whole information gathering process. Like, when you say that I gather information, I don't just gather information from other people. I gather information from you. And you have to trust that I have gathered your information as well. And I have thoughtfully considered what you're saying. And so your trust is that I thoughtfully considered, or your responsibility is to think that I have thoughtfully considered, and it's my responsibility to thoughtfully consider that point.
Yeah.
Right? And it's submission, like, if you do that and I do this, submission should just merge together, because I have the responsibility to consider my wife. And the decisions that I make from that should be, with all things considered, I make this decision in line with what I believe God wants for us. That, to me, that decision, it's not easy. The thing is, it's not easy to say, because I don't want it to be like blind faith.
Yeah.
But I should feel, or I believe that you should trust that decision, because I have done the things necessary to be trustworthy. I have considered your thoughts. I've considered God. I've considered my own thoughts. And
I hear what you're saying. But at the end of the day, it was like, when I still see that things, since we're using our hands. Oh my gosh. I'm joking.
People can't see what I'm doing. I'm joking.
Yeah, they can.
Too. I forgot.
If we've discussed that your decision had been compromised before.
Compromise? Why was it compromised? Because this is where I think we get subjective. But why do you think it's compromised?
Like, from new information that you receive.
I don't think that's compromise. I think that,
like, you may have reached a decision, because it's like, I'm still involved in your thought process. So I'll hear you think one thing, and then another thing, and then back to the other thing, and then a new thing, and then it's like, okay, no, now this is it. Like,
we went over this, and we are now way longer than I thought we would. But the way we handle conflict, and specifically the way I handle conflict, I let you in on the thought process in my brain.
Yeah.
And how you just heard.
But then sometimes I'm like, but this thought shouldn't even be a thought. Because.
But that's where we differ. What you think is non-important information, to me, is valuable information. I don't just view life from one angle.
Yeah.
I view life from different angles. And in the brainstorm, you just heard one of the clouds. You didn't see all the other clouds in the brainstorm. I gave you the latest cloud that I added to the brainstorm. My central point and philosophy was never compromised. We had to get to that point. I had to explain it to you.
Yeah.
You may have heard me discuss something else, but I take all information, I put it together. That is what the brainstorm is. Cloud of information. Right. Boom, you get a result.
A thunderstorm.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Whatever. So I had a good Jay-Z lyric for that, but anyway.
Well, okay, so that is a part of the decision making, like during a disagreement. Mm-hmm. But another part is sometimes just stillness.
Okay.
What?
No, talk about it.
Which I think we did do. Because there are certain things that we were just like, or that we just had to say no to because we have to be still in order to make the right decision. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that Jay-Z line comes in.
Which one?
Where it's like, I'm not going to nobody nothing. If
me
and my wife beefing, that is like, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
like we're not gonna move on anything because right now we don't even agree on this.
Okay, so that's a fact, and we agreed there.
Yeah, so that's another way that we have worked on that disagreement, which I very well agree with because it makes sense.
Okay, I'm there.
Yeah.
We did. I do believe because another. So.
You stressed?
No, I'm not stressed.
What's going on?
But it's in my mind is like, and we talked about this. I felt there was a point where you did not trust me, right? Because I was making decisions. I felt like you were undercutting me and not, submitting.
Yeah.
If we're just gonna be honest, I did not feel like you were submitting. And I say this all the time is I don't want you to submit to me because I'm your husband. I want you to submit to me because I'm worthy.
Which I don't.
Right? Wait, which one?
I don't just submit to you.
Yeah. I want you to submit to me because I'm worthy. And my worth as a decision maker, sometimes I feel like you don't see it. I think you only assume one thing, but I don't think you always understand how much thought I really put into things.
No, I know how much thought you put into it, but I also know that a lot of things are backed up by emotions.
But that's subjective.
In certain disagreements, not all disagreements, because some disagreements
emotions are good when they align with what you want them to be. But if but that's on you. To you.
What you mean?
It's emotional to you because you don't agree with it.
No.
If you agree,
I understand
it could be logical. You're just not seeing it.
Some disagreement, it's kind of like, okay, if I have a disagreement with your mom or something, right? Mm-hmm. But like, which this never happens, but like you take her side.
Yo.
For whatever reason, today you would take her side. And I see that you have a history of doing that. Then I know it's a part of it is because of that tie. It's because of the emotions backed up by that relationship. Mm-hmm. So it has nothing to do with, okay, yeah, I've considered this. Like that plays a piece. But at the end of the day, you're going to still, no matter what, go to your mom's side. Then that, because I know it's emotional. Because that's your mom. You know what I mean?
Emotions. Because
and to some disagreements, that's what I'm trying to tie into. Like,
yes,
emotions are led.
But emotions do affect our decisions because they matter.
They do, but not all the time.
See? But this is what I'm saying. Emotions are agreeable
in the grand scheme of things.
When they match your emotion. Like, if you...
No. Because it's like, I could want this, right? I could want this donut so bad. But I know that I'm fasting or that I'm vegan or whatever it is. And I know it's not good for me. But I want it. That doesn't mean that, just because I want it, that I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, but so the same way you believe my emotions may cloud my decision making, I feel the same way. I feel like your emotions cloud your decision making.
Yeah.
I feel like you make a lot of similar decisions it's hard when
emotionally. It's like when you're saying that at the end of the day, I have to submit. You know what I'm saying? It's different when it's like, okay, you also are driven by emotion. Not fully,
that's the hard part.
But then at the end of the day, you're bringing about a decision, and it's just like, no, because on your end, you're also being driven by emotion.
But that's the hard part.
So it's like, if of all the things, you're gonna try to make your thing work. You get what I'm trying to say? Yes.
But
because that has been the problem.
But listen, I think that is where the disconnect is. If you think that I'm only making this decision, like I'm only trying to make one side of the decision work, that's where the trust factor is lacking.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they say about disagreements, is that no party should try to win.
Mm-hmm.
That you're supposed to like fight together to reach.
And that's the thing. I think the issue that we have or are having...
This is going to play back. Sorry.
The issue that we have...
You can't help it.
Or are having is that if you cannot trust my decision making, then you won't trust any decisions that I make. So in a perfect world,
okay,
you have to believe that I am trying to make the best decision for us.
Of course.
But it doesn't sound like it.
Because at the end of the day, I still have thoughts.
I know. But it's...
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes. But this is where I'm saying that's what submission is, though.
Yeah.
You having to trust that I am trying to make the best decision for us.
Yes, but it's not on you to make the best. Like, you get what I'm trying to say?
It isn't, but it is.
In this matter.
It isn't, but
in this matter, I can understand why you would say that. But in all disagreements, that's not the case.
But okay, in that the reason but here's because this is what I like. Like, I like to walk us through these.
You're trying to be connected right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in my track record with you, do you think I only lean towards my own self-interest? Because, and I brought this up when we had the argument, we had just gone through another disagreement. Mm. And I was standing on the table.
Yeah.
For what I wanted.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
We went with what I wanted.
So,
but
clearly, I do not only follow my own self-interest. I do consider what you said.
You was dragging your feet.
I was not dragging my feet. We did a delay. We literally had just read this. We said, okay, we're going to come back to this in the morning.
That's good.
What happened in the morning?
We made a decision.
Won't he do it?
That's good.
But this is, I do not do this haphazardly. I think as men, this is what we need to work on. I think it's, I don't simply want to be trusted. I legitimately try to follow a set of principles that makes me trustworthy. Mm. But I also feel like where women have a responsibility to trust. And it is not easy. I will not say that it's easy. And I think it's working through that process of men developing that spirit of not fighting your own self-interest and I don't want my wife to ever feel stepped on, right? Like, and it's letting her know that, one, your thoughts are considered. They matter. And I do take that into consideration, and let her see it. She has to see it. Which is how we've had compromises, and that is me trying to see it. But there, as men, there is a point where you have to draw the line in the sand. You cannot compromise forever when it's not a true middle. And if a certain decision needs to be made, a certain decision needs to be made. With your wife's consideration, with God's consideration, with God's guidance, not his consideration, his guidance. But you have to, it's not, I don't think it's easy to get to that point. I feel like we're still working towards that. And in the meantime, yeah, we're trying things out. We're working things. I think we have come to a place where I have truly considered what you thought. I've truly considered what God needs from us. And we've come to a conclusion.
Yeah.
But there will be other disagreements. There will be other, and it's, look, when we make a decision, let's make a decision. Let's stick with it.
Yeah. I think it also is like, for us, what is bringing peace? Mm-hmm. Like, which decision that we're making, or which side or middle is bringing the most peace? Because the middle that we were doing before was not peaceful at all. Mm-hmm. It actually was more disruptive.
It was.
So it was kind of like, and then we would both, within that middle space, we would both have responsibilities to kind of feed the middle, and we both weren't contributing to that. So it was just kind of like, okay, what are we doing? So at the end of the day, what decision is going to bring peace? Because that's what everybody wants. Like, nobody wants to argue.
That's perfect world, though, right?
Yeah, nobody wants to argue. But I feel like now we've reached a peaceful place when it's kind of like, okay, you could come home with some new information or whatever, and I'm just like, this is what we agreed on. Like, it is what it is.
All decisions don't end in peace. And I think that's what being the decision maker is about. Because if that was the case, it's not really a decision. Well, it is what it is. So certain decisions do not end in peace, and it's understanding that.
Well,
and I think
it still hasn't ended, but
for sure,
where we are now is a peaceful,
more peaceful.
Yeah.
But all decisions don't end in peace, and that's what I mean. Sometimes you got to make hard decisions, but they have to be made. Like, if I'm going to make a hard decision, I need to know my wife is going to support me in the hard decision. And do I have the spirit of discernment necessary? And does she have the decision or the spirit of submission necessary to get to that point? And I think that's two bones that we both need to work on. I mean, it is what it is. It is a moving target. It is something that will keep evolving, keep growing. But it's wanting that. It's wanting the spirit of discernment and wanting the spirit of decision or of submission. And moving forward from there. And I think to me, that is where we are right now in our conflict resolution styles and doing things like reading that book. I feel like that helped grow that in us. Learning how to identify a conflict, come up with a plan. We're going to either meet on one side, meet in the middle, delay, and then come to a decision. But those things don't get better unless you work at it. And I think we're getting better at working at it. And that's the goal. All right.
Got it.
Cool.
All right. We do have some listener.
Oh, we jumping questions. In it? Let's do it.
No.
We're going to listen to questions?
Yes.
Split it up. All right. On to the listener questions.
All right, so this week's, actually, you can email us at michelmatters@gmail.com.
Get it together.
Or DM us on Instagram. So, the first question is, I feel my longtime friendship coming to an end but I know that it's one-sided. How can I end the friendship in a non-messy way?
I mean, that's always a tough one. Ending friendships is never easy. We did a podcast on it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you're going to have a conversation regardless, and it might be messy. And they might not talk to you for 7 years. Who knows? I'm not speaking from experience.
But yours didn't end messily.
It did.
Well, yeah, I guess.
It did. But a conversation has to be had. Whether they want to have that conversation with you or not.
Because this is literally you going to somebody like, yo, I'm not going to be your friend no more. Like,
I mean, it doesn't have to be in those words, but yeah.
Because if it's one-sided, right?
And they're going to probably want to know why.
Yeah.
Even though they probably have an idea of why. Like, these things don't just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and isn't that what being a friend is about?
Yeah.
So, I think the friendship is not ended to me until that conversation is had and we can't find a way to move on from there. That's when the friendship is ended. So yeah, that conversation needs to be had.
Yeah.
If we really not gonna be friends, look, this is gonna be why I came to you as a friend.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get past it. And it's like, put the cards on the table. It is what it is. But that's what being a friend is about.
Yeah.
Having that conversation. I'll have that conversation with my friend. If it's somebody I don't care about, I'm gonna just ignore you. You know, we won't see each other, we won't talk to each other.
If you don't care about them, they're not your friend.
Nah.
Yes.
There's
you care about your friends.
There's tears to this. But
yes.
Yeah, fine.
This is a long time friendship.
So that's what I'm saying. This person, you need to have the conversation. To me, I feel like depending on how the conversation goes, the friendship could be mended. It could be stronger because of it. Maybe not. I'm saying.
She said she knows it's one-sided. So that means she knows that she wants to dent this friendship.
But the other person doesn't.
Yeah, I guess we'll see after the conversation.
But that's what I'm saying. If one person clearly wants to be in a relationship, something could happen. They can change. If you really want to make this work.
Yeah, but based on like even experience, if somebody want to end a relationship and the other person wants to stay, you're going to end the relationship. Like, who is going to stay in a relationship where one person wants to not be there? That's crazy.
You're right. I don't even know who wrote this question, but it got to be a woman because guys don't have this.
Yeah, it's a woman.
But, yeah, I mean,
how can you end it in a non-messy way? There's no guarantee that it won't be messy. I'll say it like that. But
mess is
time
is subjective, no? Like
it could be messy in a today's messy terms, or it could just be messy like, oh, when I see her in the street, like I'm gonna act like I don't know who she is, type of stuff. Like there's no guarantee that this person won't avoid you, like purposefully, because if it's a long time friendship, obviously you guys have mutual friends too. You guys probably hang out in certain places that are the same. You might run into each other. Like these are things that it could be messy. Like if somebody have a party and they invite you and they invite the other friend, then what happens?
For me,
y'all gonna act like
longtime friend. I mean, me personally, I'm not gonna get out of character, right? So even if we aren't friends anymore, if I see you, it's what's up. It don't gotta be, yo, let's catch up. It could be hi. Like, I'm not gonna ignore you because our relationship was never like that. Unless you did something, like unforgivable. We don't have to be the best of friends. It could be a high and bye type situation. I don't got to get like messy in that sense. That's why I don't feel like the word messy.
But it might take time.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that it's gonna be okay, girl. I get it. I get why you don't want to be friends with me. Like nobody says that.
Yeah.
It might be maybe not messy. It might be awkward. Like, but there's no guarantee that it will or won't until you have that conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Yep. It's a lot.
I am currently dating 2 people seriously.
How can you date 2 people seriously?
I don't know. It's 2020. One of them might serve time for a few months soon, but that's the one I'm most interested in.
Of course.
Do you think that it's wise for me to continue to talk to him, or should I just break it off now?
Why is he going to jail?
Yeah. I mean, if it's just for a few months, then it can't be like for murder.
Nah, okay, fine.
So if you break up with him, it's not like he's going to kill you or anything.
Well, one, I mean, for me personally, I don't think you can date 2 people seriously. That's number one.
Yeah, especially if you're more interested in one person. Why are you even still talking to that other person?
Yeah.
And then if you drop this person, are you still going to talk to the other person just because?
He didn't go to jail.
Yeah.
He might win by default. But, yeah, so that's the first thing. You can't date 2 people seriously. That's just my opinion. It sounds like you dating. To me, it sounds like you dating one person seriously and the other one's like a backup plan.
Yeah.
And you might have to use your backup plan soon. So,
I would definitely, why is he going? That's something to consider.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that look like for later? Because I mentioned this before. Jobs can be affected. You know, if you're trying to move forward seriously, like, what does he do? You know, was it fraud? Because it is Miami. Like, what is the reason? What was the reason?
Is this going to be a reoccurring habit?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot that comes with that. So, I don't know.
Is it wise for her to continue to talk to him?
because, I mean...
It is wise?
No. I mean, I don't want to tell you what to do, but yes. I can tell you this. Fixing men is not easy. Especially fixing a grown man.
Fixing men is impossible.
Yeah, especially fixing a grown man.
How about that?
So take that into consideration. Do I think people deserve second chances? Yeah, but you got to see the corrective behavior before you can, to me, get involved in that. Something has to change, clearly. Because unless that's, that's what you're cool with. You like a little, risk with your romance.
I mean, obviously, that's what she's interested in. So,
yeah, just something to consider. For me, personally, if you were like my sister or something, I'd say, nah, I did that. What?
Okay.
It's true. I mean, that's just my opinion. I wouldn't put that on somebody.
Yeah.
That's something they got to work on to fix.
It depends on eventually. The person. I think it does depend on the person and what you're willing to deal with in the aftermath of all of this, of these few months, and then like what happens during those months. Like how do you build your relationship behind bars, so to speak? Like what? No, I'm serious. Like, so, like, what does that look like? Because that's a whole another level of trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would refer to episode that we did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put an eye in the sky. We had the Lewises on, so.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I really don't have an answer, but it just goes down to what you can deal with and what you want. And what he wants.
Yeah. I mean, to me, you have to legitimately see change behavior if you are to still talk to this person.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long that'll take, to believe in, but...
And drop the people you're not interested in.
Yeah.
It's just a waste of time.
It's just free lunches and dinners. But...
If that. So, moving on. Business spotlight.
All right, man. All right, so for this episode's Business Spotlight, we wanted to highlight Miami Gardens Ice Cream Heaven. It is a Black-owned ice cream shop on 27th Ave and 171st, I believe. We'll link it in the description. But if you know where the Finger Licking is in Miami Gardens, it's right across the street.
Yes. And it's in the same plaza as Pretty Healthy,
which we spotlighted episodes back. So yeah, it's from the outside you couldn't tell, but it's really nice.
Yeah.
They have all types of ice cream, and then I don't know if it's their big thing, but what caught our attention or my attention was their ice cream sandwiches.
The name.
Yeah, the name of the ice cream sandwiches. They come in 2 different sizes. There is the big $$, ice cream sandwich and the half $$, ice cream sandwiches.
How did you hear about this place?
Twitter.
Okay.
But someone posted, I guess there was a article on them in the Miami Herald, and someone posted it. And yeah, it just, kind of gave a little information on their background. I think the owner, he started off working in Jackson's a while back, and then he started his own ice cream shop, and then it kind of failed. But then he got with, I want to say it's E-Class, who is like the owner of like Finger Licking and that. And they got together and they created Ice Cream Heaven. So yeah, it's pretty cool shop. Definitely check it out. The big ice cream sandwich, for us, we shared it.
Yeah.
Cause it was pretty big. The half, it was good. I liked it. It comes with you pick the cookie and the ice cream. So it comes in like red velvet cookie, chocolate chip. I think they have like a cinnamon toast crunch. They have different cereal ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty dope. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah, and they have like other things. I think they had cake on display.
I didn't see no cake, but they had like fried Oreos.
No, it was like spices of something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. Sundays, typical ice cream shop type spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, but definitely check it out. And then there's even like in the hallway, I guess it'll make a nice Instagram picture. Like they have this, like these lights. And it's a nice spot. So definitely go check it out. You can play the games while you wait for your ice cream to be made.
Yeah.
And just go support.
Yeah. Just another cool thing. A cool little opening in
the
Miami.
city. So.
Yep.
All right. Another episode in the books.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
Peace.
When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That you might work, ayy. When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That you might work, ayy. That you might work. That you might work.